Hey there, history lovers. Welcome to History for Hot Girls, where we deep dive into people, events, items, and ideas traditionally considered feminine by hot girls, for hot girls. Get ready for a spooky, ooky, kooky time. It's the Halloween special.
Ooh, spooky. I'm quitting podcasting after that.
I've been so excited for this
Oh
because
my God.
I do love Halloween. I love to dress up for Halloween.
Same.
It's so much fun. And I just want to take us back in time to where it all began.
I do love that Halloween has become a little bit more popular in like Australian culture over maybe the last 10 years. I feel like when we were teens, it was not the vibe. People were really judgmental.
Yeah, it was a very American holiday and you were judged for participating.
Yeah.
But not so much anymore, which I'm really excited about.
People have really lent into the spooky vibe, and like that's my I like cutesy spooky decorations. I like costume parties. Are you guys dressing up? Are you doing anything this year?
Well, because of a child now, I have to be like thinking about a really cute baby costume.
Oh my God, baby costume.
Yeah.
Stop.
So excited. So, hey, if anyone has any ideas for a cute little baby outfit for Halloween, hit us up.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get into the bold beginnings of Halloween. So we need to travel back to the lands of the Ancient Celts, which was about 2,000 years ago. We're in UK, Ireland, a little bit of northern France. The festival of Samhain. Now, my Celtic pronunciation, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering this. Just tell me how to do it correctly in the comments because she's not a native speaker of Ancient Celts. So
I thought you were going to say she's not a native speaker of English.
Well, barely that too, if we're getting into the nitty-gritty of it.
Would it really be an episode of History for Hot Girls if we were pronouncing things correctly?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
It would be
fine.
off-brand. Yeah. The Festival of Samhain marked the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. It celebrated the end of like the harvesting season. Fires were lit, bonfires, big ones, prayers, and a lot of celebrations led by the Druid priests. It was believed on this night that the barrier between the physical world and the spiritual world was at its weakest, and that potentially some ancestors could cross over, so people lit those bonfires to kind of ward them off and dressed up as animals or monsters so that, you know, the fairies and the spirits were not tempted to kidnap them.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of different cultural beliefs and practices around that idea of like spirits being able to cross over. And I don't know, for me, there's something about those specific beliefs that cross over across like cultures and countries and times that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, where I'm like, it has to be right then. You know what I mean?
Yes, not this amount of people would be talking about it. And believe me, if there wasn't something there. And I totally love that idea as well.
Yeah, oh my God.
Luke Eastwood, in his book Samhain, The Roots of Halloween, describes that it was really important to the Celts that these celebrations were strongly tied to agricultural cycles, the cycle of life and death, the seasons changing, and the way in which the land reflected that. So that was a really important to that culture. And I think a lot of ancient societies as well.
The one that comes to mind for me is, I think, the most basic of examples, but ancient Egypt structuring their entire life around the seasons of the Nile.
Yep.
Right. So around the flooding versus the drought or the river being the lowest. I guess it makes sense because in like ancient and very, very early like medieval societies, what else do you have?
That's right.
You know, you don't have some white guy who's invented the sundial yet. So
yep, everything you did or as part of your life and your rituals did really revolve around the land that you lived on and the weather. And that's very much seen here. It marks the entering into winter and the hardship of the cold, especially, as Luke Eastwood says, for those who had not made the necessary preparations.
Yes, because that is such a dangerous and difficult time in especially those times where, like resources are scarce.
You can't just go to Coles.
Yeah.
You've got to...
You have to prepare.
Get yourself ready in time. Yeah, you can't just pop down to your local supermarket and grab what you need.
Yeah.
It's not how it used to work. Lisa Morton, in her book Trick or Treat, The History of Halloween, describes the way in which it then started to become a Christian holiday in about the 7th century. She says, by the 7th century, Christianity had spread largely across Europe, and missionaries found that conversion was a smoother process when they adapted existing practices from societies and cultures rather than wiping them out entirely. Okay, this concept is known as syncretism. Part of syncretism involves amalgamating parts of culture and religions and adapting it to what you want it to look like. Essentially, it was the church's like ultimate rebranding and marketing exercise because they were like, hey, this is how we can get more people. We can't totally convince them to do something new.
Yeah.
But if we take a little bit of what they already have and twist it to suit what we want it to be, then we're going to get more people.
Hey, heathens, heard that you love your spooky shit. So does Christ. You know, that kind of thing.
It was very that. It was very, very that. So for example, converting certain ancient Roman holidays into feast days. So the festival of Feralia was converted into the feast of St. Peter. And basically what Feralia was the closing ceremony to Saturnalia, that's it, to honour ancestors. So that was changed to be the Feast of St. Peter. The Pantheon was also converted. So that was converted to honouring the Virgin Mary, the martyrs, and the forerunner of All Saints' Day was also then born in May. There's mixed interpretations too on a particular Roman holiday honouring the goddess Pomona, who's the goddess of fruits and gardens, which occurred on the 1st of November. So that kind of has ties to Halloween, apple imagery, fruits, gardens, harvest. So there's maybe some links there, but sources aren't too sure about that.
I think that something like that would be, I guess, difficult simply because, ancient times, everything's about the harvest, like you said. You know, I think that the origins of any one kind of harvest festival would be really, really difficult to pin down because in general, the beginning and end of the harvest are arguably like the most significant parts of the year at that point.
Yep. So there's a couple of different things happening as to why the church adopted Samhain, or as it later became known, Halloween. So two things. One, there was a lot of pilgrims coming to Rome and they needed to be fed. So the church was like, hey, we gotta get into this harvest to feed all the people traveling here. So we kind of want to jump onto that festival, but also co-opting that festival to get the Celts over the line in converting as well. So there's a few different agendas happening there for the church, but it worked out well for them. They co-opted the holiday, people converted, and away we go.
And then they went on to take over the rest of the world.
That's it. Pope Boniface IV moved All Saints' Day to the 1st of November, and the 2nd of November became All Souls' Day, which are really important feast days in Christian tradition. So October 31st then became All Hallows' Eve, and the festivities began. And this is quite like a European thing where you start celebrating something the night before rather than when you wake up the day of.
Yeah, actually, I've never really thought about that before.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing for Christmas Eve.
Yes.
It's huge in a lot of European, Middle Eastern traditions. You start the celebrations the night before.
Yeah, and I guess I always thought it came down to the importance of like midnight mass, you know, for most really important Christian traditions. I feel like the midnight mass is the thing that you attend. And so then, the celebration or the commemoration of that event would start the night before. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's why we have the 31st of October.
Yeah, I just thought that was something that, you know, your parents make you do because parents are just like that.
No, it all comes from paganism, girl.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
Sorry, Mum.
By 1550, Samhain had been completely absorbed into the celebrations of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. It was a Christian celebration, but it still very much retained that pagan spirit of like, hey, we're going to party, but also contemplate the somberness of death. So
Me at every function.
yeah. Like, yeah. Oh,
It's that scene in the Barbie movie where she's like partying. She's like, do you ever think about dying?
that is exactly what all of this celebration was about.
Love that.
Absolutely. Today's glow up segment is going to follow one of my favorite Halloween traditions, which is dressing up in costume for trick or treat, but just to dress up in general. I think we're going to get really into that.
What a surprise that the fashion aspect is your favorite. Oh my God. Who could have seen that coming? Michelle liking fashion? Since when? Sorry.
It's very on brand for me. Look, I could have deep dived into like where the pumpkins come from, the cat imagery. No, I want to go right into the costumes.
That's so good.
My favorite part. So Leslie Bannatyne, an author who's extensively written about Halloween and the history of it, discusses how it was believed that during the festival, the world of the gods became visible to humans, resulting in supernatural mischief, which we talked about at the beginning of the episode. That veil between the physical and spirit world is really thin, and the gods like wanted to come and have a good time.
Yeah, come and party.
Some people offered treats and food to the gods, while others wore disguises. So some of these disguises included animal skins and heads so that wandering spirits might mistake them for one of their own. But it just sounds terrifying to me. Like you're just running around with like an animal head on your head.
That's, I don't like that.
I will stick with my Kmart mask.
The, in like Mean Girls, like the sexy cat or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's an improvement.
100%. Hiding behind their costumes, villagers often played pranks on one another and blamed the spirits, Bannatyne says.
So if you had like a neighbor that was really pissing you off, you could just wait till Halloween and be like, oh my God, it wasn't me. It was the spirits. It was the spirits that like slashed your tires or whatever the ancient equivalent was.
Masks and cover-ups came to be seen as a means to get away with things, Bannatyne says. And that's continued throughout Halloween's evolution, which I'm totally obsessed with.
Yes.
After the Christianization of Europe/England, people would dress up to mimic the souls of people who passed. So that basically just means like dressing up in white sheets, which is kind of like where we get that ghost imagery.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you said that, I was fully picturing like some guy dressed as like Abraham Lincoln.
That didn't come till after.
Okay.
So there's a really interesting evolution of the types of costumes people have been wearing over time.
So at first it was just like the sheet as like a symbol.
Yeah.
Rather than an intentional representation of something.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm dressing up as a soul or as a way to symbolize a soul that's moved on.
Okay.
People would go from house to house to gather treats or spice-filled soul cakes. And this was a Christian custom called souling, where poor people would go to wealthier homes, ask for apples and spice cakes in exchange for prayers.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of like a very early Christian trick or treat. Like, give me some cake, I'll say a prayer for you.
Do you think that would still work nowadays? If you could just go up to some guy and be like, hey man, can I have like $20? I'll say a prayer. Like,
isn't that what the church does today? Martin Luther is quaking in his grave right now. I guess the modern day equivalent could be like, give me some treats, I'll shout you out on my Instagram story.
Oh my God.
Something like that.
Oh my God. It's a lot less fun nowadays.
Totally. And probably not as impressive to Martin Luther. When people started emigrating to America, they really surprisingly embraced like that pagan side of the origins of Halloween and started to dress up in a lot scarier costumes. And traditionally, you would be in like full disguise, like your face would be covered. And I don't know if you've seen like the 1800s and early 1900s Halloween costumes, but they are fucking terrifying.
Are they?
Oh my God, demonic
Ooh.
stuff.
I feel like the Victorians they popped off.
They knew how to live.
That was when
truly.
white people peaked, I think.
Yeah.
It's all been downhill since then.
If you want to talk about white culture, look at the Victorian period. Bannatyne discusses the growth in Halloween parties for both adults and children during the 1920s and 1930s, and due to the emergence of pop culture characters such as Mickey Mouse and Popeye, people started to actually turn to dressing up as these actual characters, or quote, people at the fringe of society, including pirates and problematically traveler people.
Oh,
Yes.
so we have like racist Halloween costumes from the beginning of time. It's just part of Halloween.
Cultural appropriation, really. This was peak time. They were like, hey, this seems like a good idea. After World War II, pop culture had an even greater influence on the costumes, especially because of the TV. So these characters were coming right into the homes of people. So, of course, they wanted to mimic them. So this included things like superheroes and other comic book characters, as well as in the later decades, costumes coming from movies like Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Definitely in the 70s and 80s, this began to be really popular. Fashion historian Nancy Deal discusses that there was still a place for those horrifying, scary outfits because of the emerging horror movies in the 70s and 80s. So this included John Carpenter's Halloween, iconic, and Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street. So people still could get involved with that scary element.
Yes.
Nancy Deal also discusses that gay communities at this time began holding parades and saw this as an occasion to wear sexier and campier costumes. Deal says that Halloween costumes definitely reflect the time period and attitudes, as does all fashion. And I feel like we, of course, can see that. Halloween costumes today, I feel like, really reflect very niche internet references or like
yes, definitely
memes, like people dressing up as memes. I saw this like really fun costume on TikTok where it was Zayn Malik's character. It was his drag character in the Best Song Ever music video. And someone had dressed up as that character, which is like insane. And I feel like you have to be like a stan of something or chronically online now to understand some of the costumes that people are dressing up as.
Have you seen that trend in, I think it's Japan, and the photos circulate every year online around Halloween where they have like the really hyper-specific costumes?
They're the best.
They're so good.
And you have to be like knowledgeable on probably like 15 years of internet lore to understand some of them.
Yeah. I know someone's dressing up as the 24 karat gold Labubu this Halloween.
Fucking brilliant.
I can sense it. I feel it in my bones.
Oh yeah, I'd be shocked if we didn't see that on social media this year.
I'm having ideas now. I want to be the 24 karat gold Labubu.
I think you definitely should dress up as the 24 karat gold Labubu. I'll come as the Dubai chocolate bar.
Oh my God, yes, twinning.
People really love dressing up for Halloween for so many different reasons. MQ Mental Health did some research into the link between dressing up and costumes and the mental health. So they report on the psychology of dressing up and how it can make you feel like it reflects your true self, it reflects your creativity, etc., etc. It's kind of like, you know, when you dress up in like a power suit or something really nice to go for a job interview, it almost can help you really nail that interview and get the job. Dressing up as a slutty mouse on Halloween is just as empowering.
It really is though, because I think that Halloween gives people that chance, or any kind of event where you get to dress up, really, not just Halloween. But it gives you that chance to explore outfits and things that you might not necessarily be confident in wearing every day, but maybe something that you've wanted to wear or you've wanted to try out. And because it's okay to look a little bit silly on Halloween, there's none of that like shame of like, oh, if I don't wear this properly, then I'll be made fun of, because that's kind of the point.
Definitely. And I guess for people who are struggling with identity, Halloween really offers a safe space and a safe time to explore who you are under the guise of costume. So to quote Mean Girls, Halloween is the one time a year a girl can dress like a total slut and no one can say anything about it. And there's a bit of freedom from judgment on Halloween for the most part. Like you said, if you look a little kooky, that's all right. It's just your Halloween costume.
It's just Halloween. Unless you're straight up being problematic, like, I think it's okay to get a little crazy.
There's a lot of fun in dressing up as Halloween, but Deal discusses the shift in Halloween costumes in our modern times. There's been a large decrease in people making their outfits versus buying them. So while it's really fun to dress up, express yourself creatively, there's a bit of a darker side to dressing up for Halloween, especially in the last couple of years. Last year, Willow Kennedy for the Environment and Energy leader reported that the National Retail Federation projects Halloween spending in the US in particular to reach a record of $11.6 billion. That was last year in 2024, with roughly 83% of those costumes that would be going into landfill. These costumes are often made with low-grade materials. You get them on fast fashion websites. They're made to be worn one time. They definitely will not last because of how cheaply made they are. And they will just end up in the trash.
Yeah.
It is unfortunately creating a lot of waste. So if you want to have a sustainable costume,
just DIY.
DIY, thrift it, look into the clothes you already have and see what kind of characters that might fit.
Yeah, I feel like a few years ago, probably around the time of COVID, when everyone was just at home dressing up and doing whatever, there was a real thing about like closet cosplays, and you're like Disney bounding, right? Looking at your wardrobe and creating something from there. And I think that is so much more fun and creative than like just buying a costume online.
Yes, so true.
Yeah,
so true.
I don't know.
So have you got any favorite costumes from like celebrity Halloween dress ups from the past?
Oh my God. Who was it that, I think, was it last year, and she was just a worm?
That would have been Heidi Klum.
Yes.
From a few years ago.
Yes. Oh my God. That for me, that was peak.
She always goes above and beyond.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to see her costumes
Oh
every
my
single
God.
year.
Yeah. The worm for me was my absolute favorite, because I feel like, yeah, when you think of like celebrity Halloween, like they all look amazing every year.
Naturally.
But it's kind of like costuming with the intention of looking amazing. And then there's just a fucking worm also on the red carpet.
I love it.
To me, like, icon. That was my favorite.
Yeah, brilliant. I was going to say the same. I think that's probably one of the most iconic Halloween costumes from pop culture history for sure. What about costumes that you've worn in the past? Any good ones?
The stupidest one I've ever worn. One of my besties used to do like Halloween parties every year, and I think I was like 14 and it was the first time that I was like allowed to go to one.
Oh,
and I was like so excited to have a really silly costume. And so I went as a serial killer, but like breakfast cereal. So
that's hilarious.
I did like a Hannibal Lecter. Like I had like a string of corpses, but it was like a string of like those little, you know, those breakfast cereal boxes.
Cheerios.
Like the value pack, and they're all like tiny and they were all like ripped up and like bloodied.
Oh my God. I love a punny costume. That is so good.
That's the silliest one, I think. I enjoyed that a lot.
That's so good.
What about you?
I think the best costume I've ever done was, well, I wanted to look really hot, so
valid.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yes, I love a Lara Croft costume.
Yes, but I wanted to make her horror, so I did some special effects.
Ooh.
I had some fake blood, and it was so slay.
Love that.
Yeah, love it. But Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to dress up for this year.
You have to dress your child as a Labubu.
Yes.
Like little key ring and everything.
Yes. He can be the 24 karat god Labubu.
Yes. We'll be the Dubai chocolate. He'll
Yeah.
be the Labubu.
Done.
And then the boys can be, I don't know.
They can take the photos.
They can take the photos, yeah.
I think they'll probably like that better than being forced to
Yeah,
to dress
honestly.
up.
Every time I bring up a couple's costume, he's not into it.
Yeah, not about it.
Yeah.
He's not about it. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. This podcast was recorded on the traditional lands of the Cabral clan of the Darug Nation. We pay our respects to the traditional owners of the land and acknowledge their rich oral history and storytelling traditions. We would love to keep spilling the tea on history's hottest people, events, items, and ideas, but for now, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow History for Hot Girls on the socials. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and share with your fellow history girlies. Happy Halloween!
Bye.